Hello everyone. Today in this video I'll be talking about how does virtual time works internally in Reactor. In this video we will learn how to manipulate time while working with time-based operator in Reactor. Also we will talk about virtual time scheduler which will help us to write unit tests for those code which are using some time-based operators. So before proceeding with this video, in our previous video we have covered reactive schedulers in details. If you haven't watched that video yet, you can watch it using the I button or the link in the description. So let's start with this video. Here we will see how we can avoid long running tests. Many times we use time-based operator in our reactive code, and when we write test for those code, it takes certain amount of time to execute. So we will try to understand this more with this code snippet. In this code snippet, I have created a flux of 5 elements, and then I have added a time-based operator delay elements which takes duration of 1 second, which means this flux will emit elements in an interval of 1 second after subscription. So when you try to test this flux using step verifier, you will see that it will take minimum of 5 seconds to execute this. So first I will execute this code and we'll see how much time does it take, and then we will use virtual time for the same test and we'll see the difference. Okay, so let's see some code. So I'll go to my IntelliJ editor. Here I will start with a test. I'll call it simulate time operator. So here I'll simply run the same code which I have shown in the PPT. So for that I'll create a flux. Okay. And then using just method I'll add few elements. And then I'll add a delay elements operator. Okay. And then I'll pass a duration of 1 second, and then I'll use step verifier to test this. Okay, so I'll pass this flux and then I'll expect next element to be these 5 elements from 1 2 3 4 5, and then I'll call verify complete. So first we'll run this example and we'll see how much time does it take. So if you see here, it takes around 5 seconds. Okay, so let me add a log here so that we can see what is happening. So let me rerun this example. So if you see now, the elements are flowing through this flux, right? So if you see this output, you will observe that the subscription and on request method was invoked on the main thread, but the on next call and on complete has completed on the parallel thread. That means this operator is using its own scheduler. That is the reason it is running on parallel one thread. I have explained about this in my previous video. If you haven't watched my video on reactive scheduler, you can watch it using the I button or from the link in the description. So next, if you see, all this on next call was invoked at an interval of 1 second. So the first call was made on 45, then 46, and similarly it goes to 49. So as you can see, this reactive code with time-based operator takes a significant amount of time to run, which can lead to a longer build time. Now next we will see how we can optimize this time using virtual scheduler. With the help of virtual scheduler, we can run the same code just in few milliseconds instead of 5 seconds. So for that I'll write another test. I will call it manipulating time using virtual time scheduler. So here what I'll do, I'll simply copy the previous code. So I'll copy this step verifier part. Okay, I'll add it here, and then instead of using this create method, here I'll use with virtual time method which takes a supplier type. So here what I'll do, I'll simply copy this flux and I'll pass it here. So now this is the same code where we are using with virtual time, and then we are passing this flux. So with this we need to pass one more operator which is then await. Okay, and here you can pass the duration. So in our case it will take 5 seconds, so we will pass 5 seconds. So that's it. This is the same code with few modification. I'll tell you what we are doing here. Here the first thing we did is we set up a virtual clock, and then using then await operator, what we are doing is we are moving ahead this virtual clock by 5 seconds so that we can get our expected element. So first I'll run this example and then I'll explain more about this. So now if you see this output, everything runs on the main thread, and the interesting thing about this test is it took only around 200 milliseconds. So here you can see that we ran the same test, but this time it does not take 5 seconds. Instead, it runs just in few milliseconds. So now let's try to understand what is happening here. So if you see, we have added this then await operator. So let's say what happens if we don't give this operator. So let's rerun this example. So here if you see, we ran this example, but we are not getting any output, and this test is running indefinitely. So let's try to understand why is this happening. So if you see, we have set up a virtual clock. That means we have to manually move ahead this time so that the flow of elements can get started. So right now if you see, there is no one who can advance this virtual clock. That is the reason it is not able to execute the elements. So let's say if I advance this time by 1 second, okay, then what will happen? Then we will get expect next as 1. So here what I'm doing, I'm just advancing this virtual clock by 1 second. That means after 1 second I'll get this element, and then I'll copy this line, I'll add it here, and here what I'll do, I'll advance this by 4 seconds. Now after next 4 seconds it will get element from 2 to 5. So now if I rerun this, you will see the output. So now if you see, everything runs perfectly, right? So we got all 5 elements. So let's see what happens if I comment this line, and let's rerun this example. So now if you see, we got our first element, but we are not getting the subsequent element because there is no one to advance our virtual clock. So this is one thing which we need to remember while working with virtual time, that we have to keep appropriate duration so that our elements can flow. Okay, so next I'll show you one more interesting thing about it. So let's move this flux out of this, and I'll just assign this to a variable flux. Okay, so what I did is I extracted that out in a variable, and I am passing the same flux again. Okay, and we have the same test. So let's run this and see what happens. So now here we are getting some error. So if you see here, it is saying the expectation is expect next, but we are getting on error, and it is saying that scheduler unavailable. That means previously when we pass this entire code through this lambda, it is able to set up the virtual time scheduler, but in this case it is not able to set up that scheduler, because the idea here is that you should not instantiate your flux before this test code. You should always instantiate inside this supplier. So other way of doing this is you can also set up a virtual time scheduler by yourself. So you need to select this one which is coming from reactor test library. Okay, and on top of that we have this method get or set. So you just need to call this method before your flux instantiation. Okay, and let's run this example again. So now if you see, we are able to run this test and we are getting all the elements, right? So this is another way of doing the same thing. And also if you have noticed this thing that everything is running on the main thread, that means though this time operators run on different scheduler, but here in this case this virtual time scheduler is replacing all those scheduler. Okay, that is the reason we are able to run all this test very fast. Okay, so yeah, that's about this video. I hope now you have a clear understanding of how we can manipulate time and how we can use virtual time scheduler. So that's all about this video. I hope you like this video. If you like this video, please hit the like button and also share this video with your friends. And if you are new to this channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching.